There is a popular notion in the world that video game-based movies should never be made, they're terrible, and it's just all around a bad idea. Which that is a completely correct notion, and movies like this are why. Silent Hill Revelation. So Silent Hill Revelation stars this one chick who kind of looks like Michelle Williams, but it's actually not her. She's the little girl from Silent Hill 1, grown up to the age of 17. Her and her dad, played by Sean Bean, they've been on the run from the cops for a really forced plot point. You gotta have the people on the run, you know, otherwise the movie might be boring as shit. Yeah, that didn't help. She meets Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and he's all like, hey, how's it going? I want to get to know ya. Then Sean Bean gets kidnapped and pulled back to Silent Hill, in which case she needs to follow because all the evil things in Silent Hill want her in Silent Hill. Now we have the second Silent Hill movie. Lucky us! Alright, so if I'm being honest, the first Silent Hill movie, I actually kind of enjoyed it. As far as video game-based movies go, it didn't piss me off. I didn't think it was a complete piece of shit. It has some cool stuff in it. The ending was terrible. I thought that was just all sorts of video game bullshit, but you know, the rest of the movie is fine. Silent Hill Revelation made me question how I ever thought the first one was good. It's almost like I feel like I have to go back and watch the first one to see if it actually is good or if I was just on crack. So I'm gonna talk about what I liked and did not like in this movie. First of all, what I liked in the movie, all right. What I hated in the movie is the fact that the movie is just a fucking mess. I mean, she gets to Silent Hill, you see things happening, like really evil monsters are filleting people. You see these weird little things over here. You're like, oh, look at that. A bunch of creepy, weird shit. And it's so much more boring than it should be. I've never been so bored in a movie that's supposed to be creepy. I can only say it like this. It's almost like it was like a wax museum. I went to a wax museum once. There was a thing called the Dungeon of Horrors, and you go down there and you see just like a bunch of wax people in these torturous positions. You know, an Iron Maiden's, another dude's getting his head sawed off. It was really gory. You're just walking down the aisle of this wax museum going, oh, look at that, that's gory. Oh, look at that, that's bloody. You're walking from point A to point B, and you're just seeing blood and gore for the sake of blood and gore. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no plot to it. That is Silent Hill Revelation. This girl has to get from point A to point B, and she's doing that, and all the while you see these little creepy Silent Hill-ish things. You're just kind of seeing it. None of it's exciting. It's there. There were a couple of cool things. There was this like weird spider mannequin thing with mannequin doll heads. It's probably from the video game, to my everlasting shame. I never played the Silent Hill video games ever at all in my life. I recognize I probably should have, but I just never have, so I haven't gone back and done it. It's easy to say I should go back and play Silent Hill, but really, of all the things I could do in my life for productivity, playing Silent Hill isn't really at the top of my list. It's just not. There was this other moment that was cool, and these things were actually in the first Silent Hill movie. There are these weird faceless nurse things that react to sound. So they start slashing at you with their knives as long as you're making sound, but if you just shut up and don't do anything, they'll just be like, they'll freeze with their knives and do nothing. It doesn't change the fact that the two idiots kept making sound. I'm like, you can just do what you're doing quieter. And these things kill these two guys. Like, they're bad Silent Hill guys, so you don't give a shit. But one of them is trying to kind of shoo one of the nurses away. He's like, hey, come on, get out of here. Get out of here. And of course he gets killed, but he was trying to get this thing away from his friend with all the conviction of sweeping a raccoon off the porch with a broom. Go on, get out of here. Get out of here. It was pretty terrible. At one point, the main chick runs across this girl and she's like, how'd you get her? And she's like, we took a wrong turn. We got lost in the fog. I was like, I'm more interested in her story than yours. I would have rather seen their story. It's like, oh, you got lost in the fog and now you're in Silent Hill. That's perfectly fine with me for a movie like this. I don't need some weird convoluted, you're the other half of Alessa bullshit. Just show me simple shit. Shit. I'm gonna talk about the acting in this movie. No, it's not good. You have good actors in the movie. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, I know he's good. Sean Bean, who is Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. He's 006 from Goldeneye. He's Boromir from Lord of the Rings. The dude has proven his worth. In this movie, he's just not good. I gotta think it's Natalie Portman complex. She has won an Oscar. She's won an Academy Award. She's a great actress. We've all seen this. We all know this. She is also the one who delivered the lines, I truly, deeply love you. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. Yeah, that is real. So a shit writer and director can take a good actor and make them terrible. That is just a reality of the world. Now we're going to touch on Malcolm McDowell's in this movie, which it doesn't really matter because Malcolm McDowell is like the Samuel L. Jackson of old white people. The dude can be in the biggest shit movies on earth, and in the end, he will still have works. People will be like, hey, you want a cameo in our shit movie? We'll pay you. Dude gets a steady paycheck doing it. It's fine. His career won't be hurt. I hope Sean Bean's career comes out of this movie all right. If I'm being honest, it didn't even look like he wanted to be there. Gotta think it was that contract he signed for the first movie. movie. This movie honestly feels like a set designer and a special effects guy got together and they were like, hey, let's make a really cool Silent Hill movie. So they just showcase their talents by showing you crazy, creepy creatures and really bad special effects. As for the 3D in this movie, I'd love to be able to talk about the 3D, but I saw the movie in 2D because that's what was available to me at the movie theater. I would have seen it in 3D if I could, but I just couldn't. But really, I don't think it matters. I really doubt the 3D would be the thing that brings Silent Hill Revelation up to the bracket of bearable. Like, it would be like, all right, the movie has shit writing, a terrible premise, terrible direction. The movie's just all over the place. It's a complete and total mess, but that 3D, that really did save it. No, I doubt it. You've seen me review some movies that I've said should have premiered on Netflix. Silent Hill Revelation should have premiered on the most miscellaneous, unknown, backwoods, basic cable channel at 3 a.m. on a Monday. And that's also where it should have died. Silent Hill Revelation is definitely, absolutely, without a question, dog shit. This is one of those movies that should be avoided at all costs. If you have like the worst job ever, just know that you shouldn't skip that job to go watch Silent Hill Revelation. If your job is to unclog toilets with your tongue, while you're doing that, power through by thinking to yourself, you know what, my day could be worse. At least I'm not watching what Jeremy watched. So what is the worst movie of the year for you? I don't know if Silent Hill Revelation is the worst movie of the year, but it's certainly a contender. Whatever your worst movie of the year is, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.